Hey everyone, the Game Piece here, and welcome to the next video in our competitive series where we're going to do an in-depth analysis of various Temtem, going over what moves, TV builds to use, and overall how to use the Temtem. Today we're going to be taking a close look at the Temtem Volarend, so let's get into it. Volarend is a toxic and wind type Temtem that can be found on the island of Tukma by rock hopping in this location here, and it has a pretty rare chance of spawning. However, you can evolve your Zephyroth into Volarend after leveling it up 22 levels from when you caught it or from when you hatched it. Volarend has the option of having one of two traits, the first one being aerobic, which whenever it uses a wind type move, it will boost its speed and lower its special defense. And the second trait that Volarend is capable of learning is anaerobic, which when using a toxic type move, it will increase its special defense but lower its special attack. So there are a couple of different ways that you can utilize those traits to benefit your build, so I'll get into that in a little bit. Now Volarend's going to be pretty effective at taking out water, nature, and then toxic type Temtem, but you're going to need to watch out for the opposing electric types because Volarend's going to take super effective damage from that. However, Volarend does have 4 resistances, which makes it pretty good at being a wall of some sorts, and I will get into a various build how you can take advantage of that shortly here. But let's get into the overall stats of Volarend. Volarend has pretty significant special defense with a 95 base stat, meaning it's one of the highest in the game right now, and it also has a high HP stat to take advantage of that too. But also overall, Volarend is pretty well rounded. It has decent speed, decent special attack, pretty much it really suffers in the stamina department, but you can equip it with a gear item such as Sweatband to recoup stamina costs. Now on the grand scheme of things, I'm going to be placing Volarend on the A tier here. Volarend has very little to worry about as far as super effective moves go. The only electric attacks that it really has to worry about are things that are going to come from things like Gazuma or maybe Nesla. And then in addition to that, Volarend also resists 4 of some of the most common types in the game right now that are prevalent in competitive play, and also just has a very high HP and special defense stat along with a trait to benefit that to boot. There's plenty of options that you can use Volarend for, and I'm going to be getting into a couple of those. But first, let's go over the moves that Volarend has access to that are notable. Now Volarend gets a crazy good move in the form of Toxic Plume, which is a special damage dealing toxic type move that affects the whole entire team for 50 damage. But if you have a synergy and you use it with a crystal ally on the field, it'll save you the stamina costs from using this move and also lower the entire team's attack. So this is a crazy good move if you want to use it with a defensive wall to take any sort of physical attacks better, and also Volarend also specializes in special defense, so this is a way to kind of save yourself from more of the heavy hitting physical attacks. The other move that I want to go over is Hyperkinetic Strike. Now Hyperkinetic Strike is a move that is a special damage wind type technique, and it's a single target technique. However, this move inflicts more damage depending on the Temtem's speed. So thanks to Volarend's aerobic technique, it boosts its speed every single time it uses a wind type attack. So this is going to be super good for pairing with that. Also, Turbo Choreography will boost Volarend's speed by 2 stages. So that's going to be a super good technique to pair with this move as well. It's really a good option to use. So what Temtem should you be pairing up with Volarend? Well, I recommend a crystal type or a earth type to counteract the electric weakness. Ideally, you're going to want a crystal or melee type that's going to outspeed any electric types that's going to come on the field. Now, you're going to have to pay attention to Gazuma. And really, Gazuma doesn't have super high speed to begin with, so if you build around it and make an option of countering it, you're not going to have to worry about it too much. It's just something to be mindful of because electric attacks are really the only thing that Volarend is truly heavily threatened by. I think that pairing Volarend up with a Temtem like Xenareth is going to do you a pretty good favor. Having Xenareth be able to use crystal spikes to be able to take out any sort of electric attack, not to mention the crystal typing will allow you to take advantage of the synergy for Toxic Plume. So I'd say that's a pretty fair Temtem to match it up with. You're going to be able to cover each other's weaknesses and also provide a defensive core for each other. So now let's go over a couple of movesets that Volarend can take advantage of. So the first one here is the Volarend with the aerobic trait. Now this Volarend has 500 speed TVs and 500 special attack TVs. If you want to know how to optimize those, take a look at my recent video. But anyway, this Volarend really specializes in using a wind type technique to take advantage of the aerobic trait to boost its speed and lower its special defense. With that increased speed, you'll be able to power up the power of Hyperkinetic Strike, which which boosts its damage based upon your Volarend's speed. And then I have the hand fan on there as well to further increase the damage by 10%. I also have Toxic Plume on there. I think that's a really beneficial move, especially if you have a crystal type, especially one if you can pair up, like I mentioned before, like Xenareth. You can get that synergy and decrease the attack stat. So this is a pretty good set to use if you want to have a good sweeping special attacker. Definitely pretty threatening to some of the more prominent Temtems in the game right now. And the second set that I have for Volarend here takes advantage of the anaerobic set. Of course, when you use a toxic type move, that will increase your special defense, but it will lower your special attack. So we're going to be using mostly physical moves here, except for Toxic Plume, just because that's a bit advantageous for us for this set here. But anyway, we have Venomous Claws and Noxious Bomb to be able to get those first turn toxic moves off, as well as Feather Gatling to be able to take advantage of the wind typing if we need to take out any threats. And as you can see, we have 500 TVs invested in HP, and then 430 TVs in defense, and then 70 invested in stamina. The reason for this is because the 70 stamina TVs will allow us to use Noxious Bomb 3 times without worrying about overexerting ourselves. So that's going to be very beneficial for you with this set, taking advantage of that anaerobic procs to increase your special defense and basically tank hit. And then I have the Lightning Rod gear on it, which reduces 20% damage taken by electric technique. This build is really tanky, and it's definitely going to do well paired with the Temtem that wants to sweep, or pairs well with it like Xenareth, like I said earlier. Now, as far as what threats to look out for when using Volarend, you need to look out for Gazuma, which is probably your main threat that you're going to have to worry about. Gazuma is one of the best electric types in the game right now, aside from Nesla, who really doesn't see much usage at all. So Gazuma is going to be the main threat that you're going to have to worry about. Just keep an eye out for Gazuma and have a threat in the back. Like I said, having a crystal type like Xenareth is going to do you pretty well with dealing with Gazuma. So definitely be mindful of that. Otherwise, just be mindful of any heavy hitting physical type attackers. Volarend doesn't have pitiful defense, but it's something to keep in mind of. It definitely excels more at taking special type attacks. So there you have it, everyone. That is the analysis for Volarend. I think that Volarend is a very, very solid Temtem in the game right now. It doesn't have a whole lot to worry about as far as weaknesses go. Only thing really threatening it right now is Gazuma and potentially Nesla, if your opponent is brave enough to use that. But I do think Volarend has also a pretty strong offensive capabilities with Hyperkinetic Strike and being able to boost its speed with various traits and also boost its special defense if you want to go with the wall variant to take advantage of it resisting so many different things. So there's really a couple different options, and maybe even more if you want to do a mix of these two. So Volarend is a really versatile Temtem right now, especially with Toxic Plume. It's pretty invaluable. So I would definitely recommend training up a Volarend for your team and giving it a go and seeing how it works out. If you like the video, be sure to leave a like and be sure to subscribe for more Temtem content and guides and more stuff like this in the future. Thank you guys so much for watching and so much for the support. I really seriously appreciate it so much. Have a good day.